Welcome back, BB Nate.
Hey. Yeah, thank you. It was a little weird being gone.
Yeah, it was weird not having you here.
It didn't feel right.
It didn't. I found a special joke for you this week. You ready for it?
Really? Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, you sure? All right, here we go. Why is Two-Face one of the worst villains?
I don't know. Why is he one of the worst villains?
Well, because he's only half bad.
That joke was a bit of a coin toss.
Uh-huh. That was good. Both of them. Congratulations. You both did good.
Well, let's get this show started after these ads specifically chosen for you to listen to, while Omega and Sid are busy hustling unsuspecting patrons out of their hard-earned credits. This is Tatooine Sons.
Shoot Marvel, Star Wars, DC,
Wait for it.
and Mortal Kombat fans.
He was ready this time.
Okay.
I was. Yeah, I thought I had a little bit. Thanks for tuning in this week. If you love Tatooine Sons and you love cool pop culture stuff, check out our TeePublic store. The link is in the show notes. We got all sorts of cool t-shirts, mugs, stickers. I keep coming up with new ones each week, but I'm out. Of all your favorite fandoms, not sure we have Mortal Kombat, though.
We do not have
What's
Mortal
cool,
Kombat.
though, is if you use our link and purchase anything, all of the proceeds go to help a child in poverty through One Child.
It's awesome.
So you get a really cool piece of pop culture swag, and you get to help a kid at the same time.
It's a win-win scenario.
Yeah. It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody was
And totally does not take itself seriously, and just it's just good.
Yeah, I mean, he actually roped me into reading it. I don't read comics hardly at all. In fact, I don't read much anymore, but I really enjoyed this.
The guy in college doesn't do any reading.
Yeah, that's
Well, I do enough for school, so but the series is actually really good.
Okay, cool.
So.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe I'll look into it. Welcome to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of this generation, and that there is a story written on our souls, and that these myths speak to that story. And that is why we talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings. We did talk about Mortal Kombat when we went and saw the movie.
We did.
More like a review, but not a huge
we talked a little
in-depth
bit
thing.
about it. We talk about a lot of different things. I'm David. I'm the dad.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
What's up, guys? I'm joined by a couple of really amazing sons.
Both of them this time.
Both of
Yes,
them. That's
both of
true.
them.
Thanks for joining us again this
I'm
week. BB
happy
Nate.
to do it.
Yeah. Good to have you back. What are you talking about?
Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1 finally came out, and it was better than I could have anticipated.
Ooh, that was about as high of praise as you're going to ever get from BB Nate, because that was one of his favorite comic books. Sam, what are you talking about this week?
Oh, Loki episode 4. That was a roller coaster. There's so much to unpack on that one.
And the memes are are absolutely glorious with that. So.
And Dad, what are you talking about this week?
I'm talking about Bad Batch.
Of course.
I always talk about Bad Batch. This was this one has got a lot of the filler comments. Right now. I think that it's got a lot of very important moments.
I can think of two. Yeah.
That we're going to talk about on this one. But we'll get to that in a little bit. We talked about it. You were out last week, BB Nate.
Yes.
You had your wisdom teeth extracted a couple of days before we recorded, the day before we recorded, I think. And that type of stuff. How you feeling?
Better. It's getting there. It's the swelling's going down, but the bruising is coming up, and so it's just
the swelling goes down as the bruising comes up.
I don't think that's a real song.
No, but it's what is it? I
have no idea.
The wise man built his house upon the
Whoa, I have not heard that in a
the rain
very
came
long
down
time.
and the floods came up. right?
Yeah, that's a throwback. Okay.
At least you get to have popcorn now.
I just got the A-OK before we were recording.
You've been dying to
But you're doing better. You're feeling a lot better.
I'm feeling better.
You're looking a lot better.
I can talk.
Your face was killing me.
hurting. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, and yeah, it's the 4th of July.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.
It'll be in a couple of days, and I think most of everybody's taking an extra day off based on school and
Not me.
I've got you're not. Oh, are you working? Are you interning Monday?
Are you starting for real at the recording studio?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Monday you start interning at the recording
Well,
studio.
I don't have school. I'll just tag along with you. So
You can take
going
it.
on.
No,
yeah,
you are not going to tag along on his first day of interning.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Hey, I'm just keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, but we're gonna. I don't know what we're doing this weekend. Hopefully, I'm getting a new grill. I need it.
Yeah,
so hopefully I'll smoke some
fancy
meat.
one.
And
Yeah.
we'll do American things. Maybe I can get Mom to make us an apple pie too, because that'll be cool. With that,
nice.
I did. Did you guys see it? I went ahead and got us tickets to Fast and Furious 9.
I got the notification. Yeah, I didn't
I figure why not? Let's go to Pensacola to the IMAX theater and see it, and see the Jurassic World preview thing. And
Are we for sure that this is happening?
I guess.
Because it would suck to go and watch a movie.
Oh, yeah, it's happening at IMAX. Yeah.
Okay.
at the IMAX only. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and now that you can have popcorn and soda and all that kind of stuff,
I can drink out of a straw starting tomorrow.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
It works perfectly on that. You'll have to just be careful.
I will be very careful.
It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to have to watch what is it? How long is that preview? A recap of all of the movies?
It's 27 minutes.
So we're going to have to watch that because I think we've seen one.
We've seen the first one.
So
I'm still confused how they go from drag racing to rocket cars.
I think that they're still confused about how they will do that, but we'll see.
There's all this push for weird crossovers now.
Yeah, like Jurassic World and Fast and Furious is one that was rumored a while back.
We'll see. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Let's talk about the Bad Batch. It is it's kind of a harsh reality for the Bad Batch this week as they try to find common ground with an unlikely ally. But then meanwhile, Omega, she's stuck back on Ord Mantel, basically gambling with Clone Force 99's entire future.
Loki religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
We are not confident.
Why?
So it was just announced that it's coming back to Disneyland.
We're talking about Mantel Mix.
It's coming back to Disneyland soon. I think actually today. But it was never confirmed for Disney World.
Oh, no.
So we're still waiting for confirmation, but we still have a whole nother month.
They bring in fireworks, but they can't do Mantel Mix.
They better get me some Mantel Mix or I'm a riot.
That's right.
And
they start a petition on change.
I think they only sell the spicy sweet.
Who cares?
I'll still have it.
Yeah. Well, that'll be good. All right. So here we go. Common ground, kind of a play on words. We had common ground with the Separatists, common ground
Sid.
between Sid and Omega with this episode. So well done, whoever titled the episode. What are your guys' initial... Yeah, it wasn't me. So well done on that. And what are your initial thoughts on this episode? We'll start with you, Sam.
I get the filler comments for sure. Does that mean it was a subpar episode? Absolutely not. There were definitely some very important themes and developments that happened in this episode that I think you're going to touch on. It was still fun overall, but not a lot happened. They didn't really push the overall story forward very much in this episode. And I think that's where the comments are coming from.
Okay, maybe.
Well, I mean, Crosshair's not back. They're not joining a rebellion. It's still, they're doing a job for Sid right now. Okay. That's kind of, I think that's where people are going.
I think it was a good episode. I don't think we have much on the story, and we're 10 episodes in, and we still don't know the purpose of this show in the larger stories. So we're still a little bit wondering, and I'm sure that'll get answered. Dave Filoni knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He did a great job this episode. It's just we're over the halfway point and we're still wondering what's going on. So
how many episodes are in the series again?
16
this season.
Okay.
This was 10, so we only have 6 episodes.
They've got. Look at what Loki's done in 4 episodes. They can bring stuff together.
But they're all 45 to 50 minute episodes. So,
well, we've had a lot happen in the season up to this point. I think that we don't have to do it in 4 episodes. They've already done a lot this season.
Yeah.
So we did return to Raxus. I don't know if you guys remember what Raxus is, but it really is
familiar.
It's a very critical location to the Clone Wars, and I'm not talking necessarily the series. I'm talking about the actual the war itself. We don't see much of it in really anything Star Wars. I think it was in like 1 or 2 episodes. They were going to be there. A lot of the Dark Disciple book, the Asajj Ventress Quinlan Boss book, takes place on Raxus.
Oh,
it's basically the Coruscant of the Separatists. It's their primary planet and their location. The Bad Batch is rescuing Avi Singh from the capital city. And for me, seeing that, knowing what the importance of this planet and this city is, it's kind of like sending the Green Berets in to rescue a high-level Nazi official.
Yeah, I caught that vibe. I mean, maybe I didn't make the Green Beret connection, but the whole Nazi concept, absolutely, yeah.
BB Nate, what was it like to finally get a glimpse of the Confederacy after the close of the Clone Wars?
It was really interesting to see how they treat the Separatists and how that whole feeling is. I mean, these clones fought Separatists for so long, yet now it seems like they're okay working with them if the orders are right. And it just shows more that it's all about orders and not about affiliations in most cases with the chips. So
when you say that, are you talking about like the clones that are working for the Empire are okay working with it? Okay.
So it was a really interesting take, and I loved seeing the ideology that the Separatists, most Separatists aren't bad. Some political people were not bad. This guy just really cared about his people.
Yeah.
And so it was a really interesting take on that side. So
it felt to me sort of this moment where you've got the Imperial officer and she's addressing the crowd with this Avi Singh, the senator, and she's saying, "We're not your enemies." All of that part of it kind of, I got sort of the Americans, the United States conquering Japan during World War II and basically going in there and Americanizing it as much as they could, taking over and controlling it. They took away the military. They took away all of that. And so they had to control it. It felt kind of like that. And I don't mean that from a negative, like associated the United States with the evil empire of Star Wars. But that idea is that vibe that you get in that.
You come in, you take over, you change everything, and you say it's for the good.
Yeah. They were the defeated party in this war, and that's kind of what was going on there. Sam, Padme once asked Anakin if he thought that they might be fighting on the wrong side of the war. This episode puts the Separatists on the good side. Do you feel like they're really the good guys in that war?
I think it doesn't come down to, in this case, political affiliation. It comes down to who the people are fighting. There were good people in the Republic, and there were good people in the Separatists. There were bad people on both sides too. I think it ultimately comes down to what your reason for fighting is. And like Nathan said, he genuinely just cared about his people and wanted the best for his people. Doesn't matter that he was a Separatist in this case. He was trying to do the best thing. So
yeah, it reminds me of the opening, the title crawl to Revenge of the Sith. Evil is everywhere. There are heroes on both sides. It feels like that was George Lucas trying to help us understand that we're not talking gray Jedi here, but there's a lot more gray area between this in that war. And there generally is with it. They often say that the victors are the ones that write the history books.
History is written by the victors.
Exactly. And so it's that same type of a situation there. So, another kind of a micro subplot of this episode is Echo. And he seems to really have reservations. He's hesitant about having anything to do with the Separatists. I think a lot of that has to do with him being captured by them. Turned into an organic computer by the Techno Union. Sam, how is Echo going to be able to move on from the events that we witnessed in season 7 of the Clone Wars?
I think this episode is a critical stepping stone in that journey. He's not had to deal with the Separatists really much since then. I mean, they're a little bit in the end of the Clone Wars.
If he deals with them, he's taking them out.
Right. Now that the war's over, the Republic has won and it's turned into the Empire, right? So the Separatists are no longer a big deal. He hasn't had to deal with them much more. And then being forced to, work with and, save a Separatist we see it in this episode, forces him to really think about things and come to terms with some stuff. And I think this is going to be a critical moment in that. Just more exposure for him, more realizing that they may be good people in this case. Yeah.
Nate, there was at least it appeared this way to me. There seemed to be a difference in the way that the Bad Batch was battling the clones in this episode. They've stopped that shoot to kill. In these previous episodes of the Bad Batch, they're taking them out. They don't care. The clones are coming at them. They're shooting. They're the Bad Batch. These are the bad guys. We're going to shoot them and kill them. With it in this episode. Did you notice that they were using their stun guns against them?
And the stun grenades and everything.
Yeah. Why do you think that they made that switch?
I think it really has to do with chips and the fact that they know that their brothers, the ones that they grew up with and trained with and everything, are not in control of what they're doing. It's not their choice. And so I think they feel a little bit of remorse for what's going on with them. And then a lot of just pity because they saw what can happen when that chip takes over. And so,
when you asked this question, I wasn't honestly sure, but I think Nathan makes a good point. They've dealt a lot with the inhibitor chips and seen a lot of what they can do in these past couple episodes. So they understand more what's happening to the clones. This is not their choice. They're being told to fight. And I think you're right, Nate.
In the Old Republic, or not the Old Republic, that's a completely different game.
High Republic?
In the Battle, was it Battlefront? The original version?
Okay.
Or Battlefront 2, the original version of it that came out 2005. You guys know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, old Battlefront.
There's a campaign or whatever where the clones are rebelling against the Empire on Camino. In that. Do you think that they're going into this direction? We hoped that in The Rise of Skywalker, we would see a kind of a stormtrooper rebellion led by Finn. We didn't really get it to the extent that we had hoped. Not really at all. With that, do you think we get to see that in the Bad Batch? Do you think that the Bad Batch is going to help the clones figure out how to overcome their programming? And this is the answer for why the clones are no longer a part of the Empire when we get to A New Hope and Rebels and all of that. And we actually get to see that take place. What do you guys think about that idea?
I think it's possible. I think that it would be a wise decision because then the Empire would notice that they're flawed and they have ways of not controlling them. So, and do we ever find out how Wolf and Gregor got out?
I don't think we have any answer on that.
So that could also be it. And they find Rex and join the rebellion. And maybe there are a few other clones that are in some other cells out there. So I think it's a high possibility, but they better start doing it quick. We only have 6 episodes left.
I mean, I love the idea, but I don't understand. I can't think of a way that they'd have what are they going to have, a inhibitor chip removal clinic or something? Like they just have the clones come through and they just take them out one by one?
Maybe tech finds a way to disable them without having to do surgery.
I think you've got two things that have to happen. I think they have to first turn Crosshair back.
Yeah.
And then the second thing that has to happen is the Kaminoans have to be a part of it. And I think that the Kaminoans have to have some type of tech involved, some type of an extra fail-safe in place.
Like a hive mind sort of thing where they can
turn it off or whatever and take control or let them have their own, own choice again.
And that would give this series that grand feel and the purpose of what it's there for. And it would really reinforce the fact that this is a part of the Clone Wars. So
maybe there's a code word that turns off the inhibitor chips. They have a code word, they have Order 66, which tells them eliminate all the Jedis and their allies. Maybe there's a code word that turns them off.
Maybe it's just Order 67.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, no, that's not true because McGregor and Wolf are said to have theirs removed.
It's not McGregor, you know that, right?
It's just Gregor.
It's just Gregor.
Whatever.
Well, I think that we could see Rex could have found Gregor and Wolf and had them take it out, and then later on they're part of this at some point. Let's talk about Omega and Sid. We haven't talked about them a whole lot. It would seem like they're just sort of an afterthought in this series. I think that what happens there is the most important part.
Definitely.
I see what the Bad Batch is doing as kind of as a side quest over there on Raxus. Because these developments that are happening on Ord Mantel when Omega, who is apparently Dejaric prodigy,
strategy master.
She starts beating people in the cantina there and helping take their money. And so Sid figures this out and puts Omega to work, and she ends up paying off the Bad Batch's debt to her.
I see a connection here. I think like this episode's going to tell the Bad Batch, hey, we need to start fighting the good fight here, a bigger fight. They just saved a guy because, well, yeah, it was a job, but like there was a bigger meaning behind it, right? Now that they're not tied to Sid, I think that they can go and do what they need to do.
Yeah. Nate, going back to Omega here and this Dejaric stuff, do you think there's got to be more to Omega than just a clone of Jango Fett?
Yeah. I have a little bit of a feeling that she's a mix of all of the Bad Batch, all of what they do. Because it keeps seeming like they're setting that up, especially with the ending of this episode and her going against Hunter on Dejaric. It keeps seeming like they're wanting to put that. And maybe there's more. I don't know. We don't know yet. Right. They haven't given us anything.
You talked about this as being they're no longer in debt to Sid. So two things happen in this episode, and we can call it a filler all you want, but I think these are actually pretty important elements. The Bad Batch has now fought on the side of the Separatists at this point, which Andor is about. Cassian Andor's family were Separatists, and they become leaders in the rebellion. The rebellion is birthed by a lot of Separatists in this, and now that's happened with the Bad Batch. And then you also have them completely debt free from Sid, and they can go and do what they want to do. Do you think we've finally seen the last of Ord Mantel and Sid?
I don't know about the last, but I definitely think that this series is going to take a shift soon. Less doing jobs for Sid and more fighting the good fight, in a sense. Maybe they get contacted by Rex, or they contact Rex and see if they can help in that manner. But we might see them occasionally. Maybe this is like their base of operations or something now, but we're definitely not going to see as much.
What about you, Nate?
Yeah, I think that we're going to see maybe just a little bit more of Sid, but I think that they're going to find a purpose later on and more of a chance to do what they're meant to do. And yeah, I think that we're moving along in the series. And
you think that there was any connection in the past during the Clone Wars between Sid and Rex, and that's why Rex was so easily able to come to Ord Mantel and hang out in the cantina? I know he found out about him, but it wasn't hard. It didn't seem like. Do you think there was more of a connection there, and that Sid maybe just sort of playing with them, getting them to the point where they're ready to move into this fight with Rex?
Yeah, I don't have that feeling.
Sid is all in it for the money. That's the only vibe I get from her. Everything is money for her. So no, I don't think so.
Okay. That's cool. Key takeaways. What do you think is like, where do we go from here?
I think we kind of touched on most of them, the big parts. Again, this episode didn't have a ton in it, but I feel like it was a lot of good character growth and a lot of good setups for what might be later on in the series.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bad Batch is going to start doing things differently, and I think Omega has more than meets the eye than we realize. So I think that's really what is the key takeaway from this. Also, there are good guys on both sides.
Yeah. Are we seeing Crosshair in the next episode?
You never know now.
I don't know. Yeah, it's been so sporadic. I hope they fix him.
I don't think that we're going to see him anytime soon.
Dang.
I don't know.
It'll be towards disappointing. The end. It'll be towards the end of that. Well, now that the Bad Batch has paid off their debt to Sid, like I said, I'm kind of curious to see what happens with them. Are they going to reunite with Rex, join up with the rebellion that's taking shape under the cloak of darkness? Could we see Crosshair return to wreak more havoc on his old team? And then don't forget about this, but Cad Bane is actually lurking out there somewhere, and he's got a grudge now, and he wants to find Omega. So, with 6 more episodes to go, it's time. I think it's time. Let's do this. Let's start seeing some things heat up again. Let's get things moving forward. All right, Sam.
Yeah, well, episode 4 of Loki was, I think, a roller coaster is a good way to describe it.
For sure.
With more time loops in the MCU, we got, Doctor Strange doing the same thing too. Right. twist revelations, which, you know, we called.
Some of them. Not all of
okay,
them.
that's true.
Yeah.
And 4 new friends, if you want to call them that. Let's see what Mischief was had this week.
Oh, yeah. And that's coming up after these ads specifically chosen for the alligator version of each of us. This is Tatooine Sons.
It's review time.
Yay.
And
Yay.
it looks like since I took a week off, you guys did too.
No, we talked about it. Are you talking about us? Or are you talking about our listeners?
No, I'm talking about the listeners.
Oh, we're not judging you, but
it's fine.
You don't love children?
Wow. Okay. Wow. That was. Oh wow. Alrighty. Well, getting into the rest of it. If you want to leave a review for more reasons than that, you can on Podchaser.
It's fun seeing trying to hear a 15-year-old walk back that bomb I just dropped.
It's a little bit weird, but on Podchaser you can review the show itself, which would be great, and then you can keep reviewing each episode, which is true. Also really awesome. But for every review we will make a small donation in your honor to one child, so you can help a kid living in poverty. And it's really an amazing opportunity. So you get to give a review, you get to support this show and Dad's off-color comments. And
I love how you're running PR for our dad right now. Like
human resources called. So yeah, just go to Podchaser and look up some Tatooine Sons.
It takes like 45 seconds to do this. Guys, please help us out. All right.
Be on your guard. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
All right, then, keep your secrets. You're coming to us. Is as the footsteps of do's and do's.
There are many magic rings in this world, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly.
Yeah, so apparently it is actually an alligator. That was confirmed. It's not a
real alligator?
No, it's not a crocodile. It's an alligator.
I always knew it was an alligator.
How do y'all know this?
I thought it was teeth, right? Isn't it about
because I know my alligator. Just joking. I just guessed. I kept calling it an alligator and hoping I was right. I was right.
It's a Loki-gator.
Loki-gator?
Loki-gator.
That's the new name. I like it. All right. Well, episode 4 of Loki. Let's talk about it. We got to see a return to Asgard in this episode, which was kind of cool, a little surprising. Through a flashback where we see.
I'm sorry. I just had a revelation about the Loki alligator.
Oh, go for it. Sure. Just drop it.
I'm wondering what world has animal Asgardian beings.
We'll get to that. Throg. I was going to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so anyway, we got to see return back to Asgard through a flashback. We actually see Renslayer as a Minuteman, or Minutewoman, whatever.
A hunter.
Let's go with that. Mm-hmm. Capturing a young Sylvie, just, minding her business, playing with some action figures, Valkyrie action figures, actually.
Yeah, that was weird.
We see Sylvie later on steal Renslayer's Tempad and go on the run, which she's been on the run ever since. We learned that everywhere she went caused a Nexus event. So now...
Just being alive.
Right, yeah. Sylvie explains that the universe needs chaos, right? So it created her, which was enough to cause a Nexus event in and of itself. What are your guys' thoughts on the fact that Sylvie's existence is a Nexus event itself?
It's just a really interesting concept. I don't know if we learned why she is a Nexus event in herself.
I think that she doesn't know why she's a Nexus event.
The universe just created her.
Are we going to assume that this is going to be a running thing? Because Wanda's a Nexus being. And so can we assume that Sylvie might be another Nexus being? And
that's a good connection.
She has similar powers to Wanda.
I'm tying it, though, to the end when she's in, and I know I'm jumping ahead, and you may
it's all right.
shoot me for it, but you can just rewind if we need to. She's in the Timekeeper's offices, whatever that is.
Lair?
Whatever you want to call it.
Court?
And she sees Renslayer, and she says, "What was my Nexus event?"
Oh, yeah, they're in the elevator. She was like, what was my Nexus event?
She's like, I can't remember. She doesn't know why they want her gone. And she still doesn't know after all of these years. Can you imagine? She seems good. as a child,
Sylvie.
right? There's there doesn't seem like any mischief or guile or that
She's traditional
traditional
with some
Loki.
action figures.
And the next thing you know, they're trying to end her, and she's been running this entire time and still doesn't know why. That'll mess with you.
Yeah, for sure.
With it. It was a fantastic episode.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
later on, we see Loki put into a time loop memory prison thing with Lady Sif, who we actually haven't seen since Dark World. She was in a couple episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but apparently the canonicity or whatever.
It's canonicity
of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting a bit muddy now.
It's not canon. It's a variant.
Anyway, this memory takes place after Loki cuts her hair in her sleep as a prank, Loki being Loki. Interestingly, though, this took place in Norse mythology. Sif was the wife of Thor. Yeah, she was the wife of Thor and was immensely proud of her. It was golden hair at the time. So Loki, being Loki, cut it off. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting little Easter egg.
There's a lot of things that happened in Norse mythology regarding Loki that we will not talk about on this show. All right, let's just say that.
Now I've got another wiki dive to go through.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
But after a tense, we had a tense conversation after he was in the memory prison between Loki and Mobius. A lot was said, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on one thing. It was revealed that Loki and Sylvie like each other, air quotes.
Like themselves.
Is this the greatest case of narcissism the Omniverse has ever seen, or is this something different?
I do think it's a great case of narcissism.
Okay.
I feel like it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how to react to that. And it seems like it's going to be a big thing for the rest of the series. And I don't know. It's strange to think about. So it's weird.
It's pretty classic Loki type stuff.
It is.
Loki being so in love with himself. They even joke about it on the show.
Right.
Mobius even calls him out for it.
Right.
With that, I think that, it's funny and
tragic.
And I don't know where they go with it. I'm still kind of leaning towards my theory from last episode, Sam, where I think that we're going to see before the end of this series that our traditional Loki is no longer a part of this. He's going to actually die, and this Sylvie is going to be the Loki going forward with it. It wouldn't be an unprecedented thing in this Thor space where you have the girl turn into the character.
Right.
It's sort of going to happen in Thor Love and Thunder. So, I think that's where we're going to end up going with it.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it lasts into they're not going to get married and have babies, which would be really, really genetically weird. So.
Yeah, I don't even. Is that like incest?
I don't know. That's
level?
I don't think it's possible.
Okay. So. Anyway, before this conversation gets even weirder,
wait till you do that wiki dive on Loki. All right.
After Mobius's not so productive talk with Loki, he runs across Hunter B-15, who is having a minor, existential crisis. But he talks about how the Lokis are always the difficult ones. They've taken in Kree, Titans, and vampires.
Nah.
As soon as he said vampires, Nate and I both looked at each other.
I heard it too.
And this has got to definitely be a reference to the new Blade movie coming up. I think it's the Mahershala Ali is playing the new character, so it's cool that they're mentioning that. Funny enough, Korg mentioned vampires in Ragnarok, but it was in a very joking manner, so nobody thought about it. But this was a cool little.
Do you
reference.
think they also touch on Morbius?
I thought about
because there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that.
Yeah, I'm still confused as to what the heck
they say it's not a part of the MCU,
but isn't it a Spider-Man villain?
It is.
Yeah.
But it's set in the Venom universe, but we see Vulture in the end of the trailer.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna somehow tie into this.
It's a variant. He's just a variant. Let's go with that. But Mobius, what? You
I'm
okay
just
there, Dad?
totally confused as to what that whole conversation is about. We'll come back to it later.
Mobius has a meeting with Renslayer, and after getting some not so satisfactory answers to some of his questions, he steals Renslayer's TemPad and later learns that the hunter enchanted by Sylvie was actually just fine. and was aware of the fact that, yes, everyone at the TVA were variants and have been brainwashed. Mobius then breaks Loki out of prison, but was then caught by Renslayer, his supposed friend, and was pruned by her. Is this the end of Mobius?
No, it's not the end of Mobius.
The
post-credit scenes say that, and I would be.
Are we going to be the only show that doesn't like reference the at this very moment in the conversation when we're talking about this, not go, wow, at some point?
Wow. There you go. I would be furious if we don't see Mobius again. He is such a fun character. I really like it, and I love the dynamic with him and Loki. I would just be so angry if we don't see him again.
I think that the end credit scene in this allowed, they put that end credit scene in because it directly ties into what's happening in the Loki story, but also tying it in there for everybody that was losing their minds at that moment that Mobius had been pruned to say, okay, Mobius is around.
I hope he's hanging out with a bunch of other Mobius variants, and they're hanging out, drinking Josta Cola, riding jet skis.
You know, it's not. It could happen. I mean, where we see Loki is a destroyed Earth, which is technically what his purpose was.
Let's just go there.
Mobius
we keep talking about it. We might as well just go talk about this end credit sequence and like.
All right, whatever. You're the one leading the conversation, so
you're talking about how like it's Loki's world. We see that it's New York, right? Because it's got Avengers Tower. It's clearly New York, presumably after the invasion of 2012. Do you think this is like what the world would have been had Loki succeeded with the invasion?
I do. I think it's what his purpose is. It's a world where his purpose was fulfilled. Where he felt like his purpose was fulfilled. So that's why I think
so. It's kind of like it's a Wonderful Life moment where it's like, this is what would have happened had you actually gotten your way.
It's a horrible life.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the whole theme of this series. Why did they want to get him out of there? Why is his life in danger if he stays there in that world?
We'll find that out.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, we've got those 4 Lokis in that sequence, right? Or the 4 new Lokis. There's Richard E. Grant is
Can we
playing-
stop, though, and just take in the glory of Richard E. Grant in the comic accurate tights?
How did they convince him to do that?
Congratulations, Richard E. Grant, who is now, let's see, he's been in MCU, he's been in Star Wars.
Doctor Who.
He's been in Doctor Who, Richard Grant?
He was a doctor.
He was a couple of doctors, I think,
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I remember reading it in an article.
Oh, no.
He was a
Richard
doctor.
Grant was not a doctor.
Richard E. Grant, yeah.
We'll find out after the show. Is there any, like, what are the big things, franchises that he hasn't been a part of?
Disney, I guess.
Star Trek?
I mean, he's like in rarefied air right now.
He's a big actor, which is why, I think we were also surprised to see him in the yellow outer underwear.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
It was.
But we had Richard E. Grant playing like an old comic accurate Loki, like straight from the 60s comics. There was Kid Loki, who interestingly enough,
they're bringing in so many young Avengers characters.
Yep. I think they've had young Avengers characters brought in from each of the series so far. I'm not sure what was brought in through Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I know that they're bringing in a lot of young Avengers characters. Then the other 2 Lokis are original. There's the alligator Loki, which, like you said, Nate, it could be a counterpart to Throg, which was...
Explain to me what that is.
In some comic, Loki, as a joke, turned Thor into a frog, and it's stuck. And people...
Awesome.
He was eventually turned back, but people loved it, and they kind of brought it back. And that's along the same lines of, like, Peter Porker...
Okay.
And things like that. So this could be the counterpart to that. They've got an alligator Loki with his cute little Loki hat.
It was awesome.
And then the other Loki, the armored Loki, he's original too. He's listed in the credits as Boastful Loki. And it looks like he's got a version of Mjolnir, which does happen in the comics. Loki does find Mjolnir. So there could be a lot going on.
And Richard E. Grant played a doctor in an animated series and an evil doctor in Doctor Who.
Take that.
So he was in Doctor Who.
He was.
Okay.
Right. Are we going to see like a major Loki team up in these 2 episodes? What do you guys think these 5 gods of mischief are going to get up to?
Oh my gosh, nothing good. But yeah, I think that's exactly where the rest of the series goes. We've only got 2 more episodes, right?
Yeah, we only have 2 more episodes.
Yeah, just 2. It's getting close.
Yeah, I think it's going to go crazy in the next couple. So
yeah, but jumping back, eventually Loki and Sylvie are taken to the Timekeepers by Renslayer and sentenced to pruning, not like the stuff that happens when you're in the hot tub. The pruning where they
just
like
get all shriveled up.
Oh, I get criticized for my jokes and this kind of stuff happens.
It's just better because I'm not a dad.
Yeah,
it works better for me.
Right.
After Hunter B-15 comes in and says Loki and Sylvie, maybe they're a thing now. Should we call them like Silky or Lovey now? Like,
I don't want to do that. We're not doing it.
No.
Raylo.
Oh, no.
Anyway, a fight ensues. No surprise there. And Sylvie ends up cutting off one of the heads of the Timekeepers.
Which, by the way, that was a fantastic throw.
I know, right? She's good with that.
Did that whole sequence in the Timekeepers thing when they were battling, did that not remind you guys of the Praetorians?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe a little bit.
I was totally there. Did you see Ben Hart from Star Wars Underworld?
The spoilers out context. It was all Star Wars.
And it was beautiful. And then Spencer Javits, who's like in charge of the Star Wars Celebration group on Facebook, he puts out, he's like, you forgot this one, and puts a picture of little girl Rey.
Oh yeah. She, the little Sylvie is played by the same actress who played Little Rey in
The Force Awakens. Yeah,
so.
Which is wild to me. But anyway.
But yeah, you're right. It was a great throw. But she cuts the head off of one of the Timekeepers, revealing that they were nothing more than androids the whole time. We called it. And it was even closer to Wizard of the Oz than we would have thought.
I know we're not the only ones that have called it, because I've listened to other podcasts where they're talking about this, but I don't remember. I don't think that I had listened to any of those shows before we called it. So I'm going to take credit.
Oh, I
for
definitely
it, so.
came to that conclusion without listening to anything, because I don't ever listen to podcasts. But
so let me stop here though, because I follow Miss Minutes on Twitter.
She's got a Twitter page,
an official Twitter page,
That's
like
amazing,
run by Marvel, I think.
Okay.
And it's like in her character
right.
and all this other stuff. And she's still tweeting stuff out, and it's funny, and it's got like three emoji people faces with their finger in front of their mouth came out just a little bit before we recorded, like shh and that kind of stuff. BB Nate, you said 3 or 4 episodes ago that Miss Minutes is the one that's actually controlling the TVA.
I think I'm right.
Ooh.
All right. Have you heard that on any other podcast?
I don't think I've heard that on. And you don't listen to podcasts.
I don't.
So do you think she's actively in charge of the TVA, or do you think she's been mind wiped, like what we mentioned before?
Oh, she's actively in charge.
Do you think she's like,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is she a tool of King the Conqueror?
Yeah, probably.
Renslayer is, I think.
I think both of them are.
Okay.
I think, I'm excited. I gotta get that Miss Minutes pin from Disney.
Yes.
The one that says "Hey y'all."
Oh, yeah.
I love that
Hey,
so
y'all.
much.
Hey y'all.
And by the way, voice actress for Miss Minutes is voice actress for the original Harley Quinn.
Original Harley Quinn. Oh, very cool.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
I think.
Yeah, and then
I guess myself.
another little Easter egg is that when Loki was about to spill his guts out to Sylvie, Renslayer gets back up and prunes him. It's actually like a very similar fashion to how he kills Coulson in Avengers.
Yeah,
from
that's
the back
true.
like that.
That's true.
Anyway, just 2 more episodes left in the series, which is kind of sad, but there's still a lot to be explained and wrapped up. And the episodes have only gotten better and better. So make sure you tune in next Wednesday to see what happens.
Yeah.
Nate, it's good to have you back. What are you talking about this week?
Yeah.
Well, I am back, and I am ready to talk about this fantastic movie. Now, Batman The Long Halloween, Part 1, took me by surprise by how much of a detective movie it was instead of a superhero movie. So let's just dive into what that's about.
Yeah. And that's coming up after these ads specifically chosen for you by the company responsible for making all of those 2-headed quarters. What is the deal with that? They're only like in cartoons and movies. I've never seen a real 2-headed quarter. Have you ever seen a real 2-headed quarter?
I guarantee you, when I was
find
doing
them on
Magic, I could
Etsy.
find them.
Well, you can find them on Etsy, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, this is Tatooine Sons. All right. I know I kind of was like a little bit probably out of line but with the review thing and saying you don't love children. Please don't write nasty emails and tweets to us over that. But I will say this, you can really, truly make a huge difference in the child's life by reviewing the show, and us being able, triggering us to being able to make a gift, in your behalf and buying our shirts and all that. But really what can make the biggest impact on a child's life is when you sponsor a child. $39 a month that breaks down to $1.30 a day. I promise you, if you take 5 seconds, you're going to think of something you spent $1.30 on today that you probably didn't need. And you could shift that money and sponsor a child and provide all the food that they need for that month, and education and medicine and so much more. The most important thing being hope. You give them hope that they can better their lives. And that's a pretty awesome opportunity. So go into the show notes, take a look at the link for One Child, learn a little bit more about that. If you have any questions, you can message us or email us or whatever you want to. I'll be happy to answer those for you. It would mean the world to us. Thanks.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I can fly.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
The people in this room, which one is A, wearing a spangly outfit, and B, not of use?
There's only one God, man, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Batman has no limits.
She's not the original Harley Quinn. She does play a bunch of characters in DC. She played the Batgirl in New Batman.
And she does play Harley Quinn.
She does in stuff, yes.
Oh, okay. Like a game or what? Or?
Games, animated movies. I mean, she's in like every single animated thing out there. It seems it's really a lot.
That is cool.
But so Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1 came out of Part 2, and it was
2 parts. There's going to be 2 parts.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yes, it's very cool. It's very cool. They've only done this one other time with Dark Knight Returns, which is again, and it's another good animated movie.
Yeah.
But in this movie, we only went through 4 holidays, and we have another 9 more to go.
All right, so we went through. Let me see if I can remember, because I saw the movie.
You saw half of it.
We watched it again.
Oh, you did?
Okay. While you were gone, I watched it. So it started on Halloween, makes sense.
Good job.
And then it went to Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it was just over.
Yeah.
And that was weird.
It was abrupt, but I like how they just didn't apologize for ending abruptly and leaving more for Part 2, because that's what a 2-parter movie does. They leave you on a cliffhanger. I mean, you think about Lord of the Rings. They don't wrap it up in Fellowship of the Ring. They have them walking on a mountain, and then they just go to black. Yeah. So, I'm going to be doing it differently. I'm not going to, go through every single thing that happened in this movie. No, I'm going to go holiday by holiday.
Makes sense.
Maybe touch on a couple things that happened in between it. So the first, it begins with Halloween, because hence the name, Long Halloween. Johnny Vitti was murdered in a bathtub, and a jack-o'-lantern was left behind along with a .22 pistol with a baby bottle cap as a silencer. I thought you would like the caliber that was given.
I looked up the baby bottle thing.
It doesn't work. But it's cool. Okay? It's a cool signature.
It works in Batman world.
Good point.
It does. This was one heck of a way to open up a movie. What were y'all's thoughts on the beginning and how this kind of just set the tone of the movie?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a superhero movie. That feels like a mob movie. That's how you start a mob movie. It's a murder, and a random murder of one of these high-ranking mob family members. I loved that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun to see, the Falcone family and the reaction from it, and how, it was tied into this case that Harvey Dent was prosecuting, and they're thinking the Falcones killed this guy. That's it, right? It's that scene, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, cause there was the scene before that with the Italian restaurant. So I'm confused as to how that fits into the story.
Yeah.
Was it just sort of an opening that this is a mob movie type scene?
Gotta have an Italian restaurant.
Like all of a sudden everybody gets gunned down in an Italian restaurant and you're like, oh, mob movie. Okay.
That was later on, but okay.
I thought, no, it was right at the beginning.
That was Halloween.
That was
Thanksgiving, I mean. You remember?
I'm confused. Okay. Anyway, all right. So Johnny Vitti, he's dead. But the Falcones, they don't seem to know who did it. They're pretty upset about this. And immediately you've got like this is a detective movie, not Superman's going to fly in there and stops, Brainiac or something like that.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate that you.
Did I get that DC villain?
You did.
Yes,
that was good. That was good.
Justice League for the win when I was a little kid. Super Friends, man. All right.
It's all Super Friends is on HBO Max. Got to plug that now.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Why are not we watching this right now?
I don't know.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
Watching this?
I'll talk to you guys later. No,
they have the Wonder Twins and everything on there.
Oh, that's
one thing I would like to point out is that in this movie, Carmine Falcone is a lot more conflicted and kind of just on the borders of everything. And it's a lot more, a family man is kind of what it is in this movie. And I really appreciate that. And I feel like it was a better addition in this than the comic.
Okay, so it's different than the comic.
It is. Carmine's just a mob boss in the comic. And this one, he actually is a fleshed out character, which I appreciated.
This makes me want to watch The Godfather.
Yeah.
I've never seen The Godfather.
Did you hear that Godfather joke?
Oh my gosh, it was
I'm going to make him an offer. You know.
I love that. Right as I heard that, I laughed. But Johnny Vitti was supposed to testify against Carmine in a case of Harvey Dent. So of course, the first suspect is Carmine, because you don't want somebody testifying against you that'll put you in jail. You just got to run your business. And then later, a little bit on, we see Batman and Harvey Dent find a humongous stash of cash.
That was a lot of money.
That was a lot.
It's like what, $1.6 billion, I think is what Catwoman says, something like that.
That's a lot of money, though. And then they just burn it down.
A la Dark Knight
style. A lot of Dark Knight style. It's not about the money. Harvey goes home to his wife, who's not all there, and they decide to go inside and watch a movie, but instead their house blows up, injuring Harvey, which is...
What do you mean not all there? What am I missing something?
She's depressed. She's like mentally unstable.
Depressed. She's
right. Does she become someone or something?
I think she doesn't become guy, that's
yeah.
You just spoiled the movie for me. I think she's the bad guy, and you just said she's not. Thanks a lot, dude.
Well, did you guys see the injuring Harvey thing? That's different than the comic. It was Gilda who was injured instead of Harvey.
Who's Gilda? The girl?
The wife. Which I think it was more to throw off people which was so worrying.
I thought they were going to do the face thing.
I thought so too, and it's not. And I'm like, fans are going to be absolutely livid.
So what was that like for you? Because I thought for sure we were going to see him turn his face when he's standing out there on the street.
Right as they kept teasing it, I was like, they better not.
I thought that he was Two-Face at this point.
I'm like,
and he turns and it's not. And so I was kind of like, same way. I was kind of, but you know the story.
I do.
What was that like for you?
It was nerve-wracking because they did with Batman Hush, which overall is a fine movie. The twist is so bad. It's normally Thomas Elliott.
Spoilers.
Is Hush. Well, the comic's been out and the movie is just not worth watching. But in the movie, it's Riddler with a big brain and a question mark birthmark on his forehead. It's so different than the comic.
So it was completely different in the movie.
Completely different.
Yeah, I read the comic before I watched the movie, and it was a little disappointing. Yeah,
it was disappointing, and so I didn't want them to do that. Anyway. And I felt like it was kind of touching on that, kind of like, okay, we made a mistake. We won't do that again. And Thanksgiving rolls around, and the gang that blew up Harvey's house is murdered by Holiday, and he left his gun in a Thanksgiving basket at the crime scene.
This is getting expensive. It's just leaving guns around. Those are like $300 a pop at least.
And he shaves off all the serial numbers. He takes a lot of time in this. Before I move on, what did you guys think about that fight scene between the gang and Batman? That was pretty cool.
The like ninjas?
Yeah, the alleyway.
I know it's a detective film, but good Lord, they got cool fights. Like, I love that. Like, the dude had the chain or whatever, flipped around. He just threw the batarang and hit it back in the guy's face.
I think it made Batman seem more real, so more grounded. And we know Batman isn't a superhero in the traditional classic sense. He doesn't have a powered suit or superpowers or those types of things. He fights. He's a superhero because of his brain and his money and the things that he's learned over time. And in that scene, he's an amazing fighter, but this is early on in his career, right?
It is. And what I really love about this is it shows that he's trained to be a fighter, not a detective. This is year 2 of his career. He doesn't know how to be a detective yet, which is a fantastic addition, which really isn't mentioned in the comics.
He's learning about being a detective.
He's learning about this. And this is Batman. This comic is Batman's first failure. He keeps letting people die.
And even in this, even though he knows how to fight, he's still not as experienced with it as he will be later on in the story. So this Batman is basically getting his tail whooped in a lot of cases with
but
this.
Still handling it pretty well.
He's handling it, but he's getting beat. And Catwoman has to come in to save the day. And I thought that was a really interesting moment.
I did like the scene though where he's like interrogating the guy and he just keeps punching his leg and stuff. I was like, that is brutal, but like,
and then the line, he's like, I thought you didn't hurt people. He's like, you thought wrong. Yeah, that was really cool. Then Christmas rolls around and Carmine's personal bodyguard is taken out by Holiday, and his gun and a snow globe was left behind at the scene. But
that's nice.
In this one, it was a little bit added that Joker's playing cards were added to give the thought that it was Joker who was pulling the strings. We then go.
So that's different in the movie too.
It is a little bit.
I love the fact that he knows the comics so well that he can help us navigate.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
It's still kind of teaching us about the comics.
It is.
And Joker's a tiny.
I'm following this a lot better than I did like Dark Metal or whatever those are.
Joker is a little bit more prevalent in this comic. Just a couple more
in the comic.
In the. I mean, there's some scenes in the comics that are left out in this, and then some scenes in this which are not in the comics.
Okay.
So, we then go to Joker talking to Carmine, and he reveals that he is in fact not the Holiday Killer, because he has no idea. He just is out of Arkham because he wants to see who it is, and he doesn't want competition because he's taken out too many people.
Which fits his character.
It's just Joker.
So perfect.
Yeah,
it's just perfect. But before I move on, what did y'all think of Troy Baker as Joker?
It was fantastic. I thought it sounded almost identical to Mark Hamill's Joker.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this gave me some serious animated series vibes with the Joker, and that is, of all of the animated versions of Joker I've seen, animated series is my favorite. You know, the Mark Hamill version.
Yeah,
and this one rivals it in a lot of ways. It was, and he was. And this, you have an opportunity to be a lot darker in this than you would in the animated series. And he went there, and he was darker. It was twisted,
but also at times kind of funny, which was I felt guilty for laughing.
That's what Joker is.
Yeah, I felt guilty for laughing, but
exactly.
I have a question, Nate.
Okay,
this is year 2 of Batman, right? How the heck does he have so many villains already? Like we saw Solomon Grundy, Catwoman.
Well.
Joker. I think there was maybe a couple more.
Well,
right?
Joker and Solomon and Catwoman are just all kind of there. That's really all the people he knows. Meeting them, he's going to be meeting most of the Rogues Gallery for the first time. In the next movie, so if they go by the comics, and they may have him meeting Scarecrow and Mad Hatter before because they were in Arkham and Calendar Man. It's just there are a few people that he has already met, and so I mean, 2 years is a long time to be fighting every night of crime.
Fair enough.
And also, if we're giving out applause for voice acting, I think that Jensen Ackles did good as Batman.
Yeah.
Really good as Batman.
I thought he did really well.
Yeah, I thought it was a good young Batman.
And Josh Duhamel did great as Harvey Dent, too.
He did. And we are at the last holiday now with New Year's Eve. This is where the most stuff happens, yet I think it's the shortest of all the holidays.
Yeah, it does move quick.
Joker is trying to kill half of Gotham during the New Year's festivities, and Bruce is on a yacht with Falcone. So they're separated. Then Bruce has to leave because he is trying to stop Joker from crop dusting half of Gotham.
Which is really the only superhero-y like sequence in the entire series.
And that was in the comic. That whole
and it wasn't overly.
It was not.
It wasn't him taking down a blimp or something. You know,
no,
it was just a prop plane.
And in the process of him fighting and talking and Joker being Joker, he figures out that Alberto Falcone is the holiday killer.
That's the son, right?
With the glasses.
That's the nephew. The son. Yeah.
He's like obsessed with crossword puzzles.
Yes,
and
he's
stuff.
obsessed with crossword puzzles, glasses, kind of in the background, and had a couple conversations with Carmine, which were really good and intimate conversations, which I really enjoyed. Then, what did y'all think of the whole plane sequence and the fighting there that happened, and animation and everything?
It was cool. It was really good. I liked how that was the only superhero-y sequence in the film, and it wasn't over the top. It was awesome, and it served the purpose. Like they were fighting, but like there was developments happening there, like you said. So yeah, no, I liked it. I think they're doing well with the action and stuff in the series so far.
It was great. I already said that. Now I'm curious, BB Nate, since you're in like fan groups and those types of things online, how are fans reacting to this film, especially those that don't seem to maybe have read the comics? How are they reacting to it?
The people that haven't read the comics are receiving it very well, and the people who have read the comics are receiving it very well. Everybody's receiving it very. Okay. Some people have gripes with the art because it's different than the one that they've been. I honestly preferred it over everything that we've seen.
Yeah, so different than other animated series, or animated shows,
movies.
It looks more like a comic,
and they're a little bit disappointed because Long Halloween is known for having such a different art style, but it's really an amazing noir type of art style. It's fantastic.
And so they're critical of this one because it doesn't match that.
But they said overall the movie's good.
Okay.
Some people are disappointed that it was broken up into 2 parts, but with how little we've covered, it kind of,
because I've read some comments from some people that felt like it didn't feel like a superhero movie, which it's not really.
Long Halloween
is not a
superhero comic.
Movie.
It's Long Halloween and the sequel are not superhero comics at all. Bruce Batman then makes his way over to the yacht to stop Alberto before he kills anybody else because he's Holiday. Yes, this is really the only majorly different sequence in this to the comics.
Oh, really?
Batman isn't on the boat when Alberto is killed.
Oh.
In the comic.
In the comic, he's not. And so that whole altercation never really happens. Which it's the only thing different, and it doesn't suffer from it. The story doesn't change overall. We just see that Batman kind of made that connection.
And Catwoman freaking blurted out Bruce when he landed on the boat.
That's I was going to mention that. That's another difference. Selina does not know that Bruce is Batman in the comic.
Okay.
But
maybe she figured it out here.
Maybe because of there was a line that was said that was the same thing she said, and so I think that they both figured it out.
Yeah.
But Alberto denies that he's a holiday killer.
So he's saying he's not.
He's saying that he's not.
Okay.
And he's saying there's more than you don't understand. And then he gets shot by the real holiday killer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and then gets pushed over and
turned into shark bait.
Yeah, from the propeller, which was really gross. But really accurate to the comic. He was pushed over and
shredded.
Did fall and he was shredded. There was one panel that I'm sad they did not put in here. It's the Carla Viti, who was the chick behind Alberto when Carmine was making his speech on the yacht.
Okay. The heavier set chick?
Mm-hmm, is leaning over the boat and screaming.
Johnny Viti's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Is screaming that Alberto died. And it's this really depressing scene, and you see Holiday Killer running away. It's really weird and haunting panel that we see. That was a little bit disappointing. We didn't get to see. But Batman pursues the culprit of Holiday Killer, but to no avail. And the Holiday Killer gets on a boat and drives away.
Zooms off.
Zooms. And
leaving the gun and what was?
And then you feel like you need like the next three holidays to come up right now.
Yeah, you feel like you got to have more, and the movie ends. Which is fine. I'm just wondering how they're going to cover 9 holidays in the next movie. That's really weird. I'm not quite sure how they're going to be able to do that. Yeah. But overall, what are y'all's thoughts on this movie?
I liked it. I thought I enjoyed it tremendously. I had to watch it.
You saw it.
I had to watch it a second time. I was super exhausted the first time we started to watch it. I fell asleep. I'm sorry. But
that was the day you got hit by
the car. Yeah. And so I think this stress and the adrenaline just kicked in, and then when it went away, I was passed out. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I just want more. I just want the end of it. I do want to watch it all as one. Give me a Snyder Cut version. Where I can.
They did that with Dark Knight Returns, a deluxe edition and unabridged, and I think they added one more scene.
I'd love for them to do that because it's a good enough show, a good enough comic or animated show to really continue to see the story go on.
Very much so.
Yeah, I loved it. I love how you can watch it. If you say let's watch a crime movie, you could put that on and it would fit just fine.
I think people that aren't comic book fans or superhero film fans could watch it and really get into it.
I mean, sure, it has Batman and Catwoman and Joker and stuff, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like a mob movie, and I love it.
BB Nate, is this the style of storytelling that people are expecting from the Robert Pattinson, the Batman film?
Yes, very much so. I was going to make the connection that this movie felt a lot like Seven in a lot of circumstances. And that's what the Batman movies director says. He's taking a lot of inspiration from Seven and putting it into his film.
Interesting.
And so we're going to be seeing a lot of that. I almost forgot to mention there was a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy takes Bruce over with mind control, which
this is the first time.
So now we're a superhero movie.
Yeah, kind of. The second one's going to be more of a superhero movie because we're getting villains in it, but it's also going to have a lot of crime aspects.
Is that kind of transition in the story? Is that the same way in the comic?
Yes, it transitions it to be more of a superhero.
So this is a natural place for a break.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a very natural place for a break, but I'm just curious. But that was a lot of fun going through that, especially through the holidays. I think we cut out a lot of the fluff, even though there was really no fluff. So excited for the end of this month for part 2. It was nice to be back after a little break and talking about some DC. But next time, I'll pick back up where we left off for Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah, that'll be exciting because I've forgotten everything we've talked about on that. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Yeah, Black Widow is out next weekend.
All right. Today's is July 2nd.
Yes.
When was the last release date of an MCU movie?
I don't remember the exact release date.
So today's July 2nd, 2021.
It was July 16th.
It was July 2nd, 2019.
Yeah.
It has been 2 years since we've had an MCU film released, and we'll be getting our first one next week. So.
And it's not even going to be continuing the story of the MCU.
I know. It
still looks like a lot of fun.
It does look like a lot of fun, but we've gotten a ton of set photos from the Flash movie, including Bruce Wayne and his cool looking car.
Yeah.
We had Ezra Miller and a supposed Flash ring.
The ring.
Which is so cool.
You had to explain that to me, but
I did. And the new Supergirl, which is going to be confusing because
but she doesn't look like the other Supergirl.
She's a variant.
The only Supergirl she was mentioned in is from Injustice,
which you've talked about before,
the comic series, in a dream sequence at the end of an issue.
Wow, that's a deep dive.
So it is a deep dive.
Isn't the chick from Snyder Cut in there too? The chick he saves,
which was great to see.
Was it Iris?
Mm-hmm.
Iris, yeah.
Wow, I'm so proud of myself. All right, we're getting a sneak. Thank you. We're getting a sneak peek tomorrow, Saturday, of Star Wars new anime series Visions.
Which is nice.
I'm excited to see what they can do with anime.
Me too. I'm very excited.
It's a genre I've not dived into very much at all. So
because it's weird, but I think Star Wars can maybe bring us into it. So very exciting. Thanks for listening to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast.
If you had a good time listening, it'd be awesome if you could share this with your friends.
Yeah, and of course, this show is only a small part of Tatooine Sons, so make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to get in on all the action.
Lots of fun stuff happening on there. Don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss the next episode. And remember, I know we talk about it a lot, but if you drop us a review on Podchaser, we're going to make a donation in your honor to one child so you can be a part of helping us help a child living in extreme poverty. Yeah. And tune in next week. We're going to give more Bad Batch conversation. Sam's going to break down Loki as usual, and BB Nate's going to return to the Batman Who Laughs.
Yippers.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to the other episodes so I can...
I'm sure you won't even be able to track anyways.
Yeah, that's probably true. Anything else you guys like to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you, always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.